Basically, you can like record it live. So you could sit there and just did this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. See, it's because he's a tech guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why is yours blue?
I'm dead serious.
So I could have recorded it on live and you didn't tell me.
20
I
seconds.
thought you know what you were doing.
No.
You said you was a former geek.
Yeah, former. I stopped before Instagram came out.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Brand on Hits 92.3. And our next guest, y'all, I'm trying to think about how to sum it up. I call him a tech genius. I call him a techpreneur. I mean, this guy, when it comes to technology and Internet of Things, data science, he's a genius. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I was presented with this opportunity to have a show is to talk about technology, talk about information, talk about where jobs are going, just providing information to the community. But we're going to do that through sharing Jamarcs' story. And Jamarc, I appreciate you coming in. I know you had to dart out of work. You was like, I'm going to come out, I'm going to slide through, and I appreciate you coming through. But, you know, for folks that don't know, I just wanted you to get into a little bit about your story as well.
Okay. Thank you for having me. First of all, Jamarc, from Atlanta. Born and raised, one of the few people that's actually born and raised here. How do I start? Grew up single parent home, typical, right, type thing. Good family, right? And how I got into tech, as I think about it, right? I remember when I got out of high school, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next. College wasn't really an option for me, right? I mean, at least it wasn't talked about in my family, right? So I went and got a job, all right, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm making money. It's all right, a little money, right? So I was like, let me see what this college thing is about. Let me try it out. So I begged. I was like, hey, Mom, hey, can you sign me up for school? Sign me up. Can you take me down here and figure this out? She didn't really know, right? So what I decided to, I went and signed myself up, right? So I went down, and they kind of got me in, right? And I remember, I guess, talking to people about what I want to do, right? I was like, computers, right? I guess that's the cool thing coming up. So it's kind of like an intuitive thing, I think. And I remember I signed up and I went to I signed up for programming for school, right? Yeah. CIS or whatever. And I remember at the time, right? It was so crazy because just to paint the picture of where I was, I'm in college with gold teeth and a chain on, and fitted hats. That was my vibe at the time, right? And so I signed myself up, and I remember my first programming class. I sat down. And I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, right? So I started going through it and I started finding myself in the labs late at night, actually trying to solve problems as it relates to technology and programming. So I was like, it's pretty cool, right? Around that time, just backstory, I had a child around that time, right? So 18, 19 with a child, and whatever. So I took on that responsibility as a single dad. So just trying to figure things out. I know I like the computer, so I was just going through and once I graduated, trying to find a job and these type of things. All right. After that, I started my own business. Well, me and a couple of my friends, we started business or whatever. We started making ringtones. And we started driving around with our laptops, loading ringtones on people's phones. And then we found a market for it. It was back when ringtones were a real thing, right? And we used to load them on people's Nextels, and then Nextel chirp, if you remember that type.
Yeah.
So chirp, right? So that transferred into selling digital music. Yeah. Before iTunes came about, so we started doing that. We started selling ringtones and digital music. Then we got with Atlanta used to be a big mixtape place, right? We started getting into that, so we did mixtapes, digital music, ringtones, and things like that, and evolved into a business, right? And we did that for maybe 8-9 years or whatever. Started selling albums and doing ads and having actually selling digital ads. That transferred into another startup, right? Which we call Twitch Screens, and pretty much what that was is I would go into venues and pretty much I created a smaller program where you can stream tweets on the screen. So basically we were here, you do 92.3, you can see the streaming of the tweets in the actual venue,
Yeah.
and that would create something. So all the time I'm just trying stuff because I know I like I know I like the hustle. So I like money, but I know this tech thing was pretty cool. So all that, and I got a chance to travel internationally with this stuff. And keep in mind that I didn't know what I was doing. I just liked technology, so I was just trying stuff and it started working.
Yeah.
So and around the time, like I said, I was a single dad at the time, and just really, and so I said, and from that point I got into corporate, so I was able to do those type of things. I learned the corporate structure and things like that. So technology opened all these doors for me from somebody from Atlanta that I feel like I kind of just learned. Technology opened the door for a lot of the things I have done, like traveling around the world and doing things like that.
Yeah, because it was all music and...
Yeah, but technology kind of leads that as now, right? Spotify and iTunes is actually the real estate under the actual product.
Yeah.
Right? And as you see now, that's kind of what the world is.
Yeah.
Right? So, and now, to this point now I'm into more of data science, like you said before, which is using statistical methods to kind of do stuff, right? To kind of predict things like that. Now I have teams in China and Australia and things like that. So now I'm leading teams in that way. But I'm a big advocate of technology because for me it's getting me has led me to a lot of places in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I appreciate you sharing those things because I think, folks that are from environments that we come from, they don't typically see us doing the things that we're doing. They don't see us as entrepreneurs. I mean, not unless you selling drugs. I'm just playing.
Or music.
Yeah.
Or
music.
entertainment, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's just such a the window for us is just so small. That window of opportunity, and so that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on because just for all the viewers, Jamarc was the guy that helped me to understand the algorithm on the internet, who helped me to understand data, analytics, insights, impressions, all the things that companies are making millions and billions of dollars off of. And when he helped me, when I was at the Fulton County DA's office, when he helped me to see the impact of the work that I was doing, in my mind, there was no way that I could go back and clock back in for anybody else. I just didn't know the impact of the work that I was doing. But you helped me to see that, and now I'm over here trying to figure other stuff out, and continuing to build that platform out. And so, but those are one of the things. And so with technology, from your experience, because you're working in China, you're working in Asia, you're working on what? How many continents?
Exactly. And that's what technology is.
Yeah. But so where are the opportunities going? What's the information that you can give to the people listening in terms of where these opportunities, where do you see this trend with technology going?
Well, like we were speaking beforehand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a good place without being too smart about it. Looking at Black Mirror, a lot of stuff is happening now, right? You see the robots, the artificial intelligence and things like that, and just data, right? So right now we're looking at Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And Facebook, well, it's free, but in actuality, a lot of my work goes into, hey, how do you take this information that Facebook is generating that the users are giving, and how do I predict? How do I put something in front of you that you're going to buy, right? So everything is information based. Like I said, robots are being used in different warehouses, right? The blockchain conversation, right? Digital money, which is used outside of the bank, which is the internet of money, things like that. So Uber, it's so many other things that you can look at with technology, but people don't look at it because technology is kind of invisible, right? It's kind of invisible. The world is not changing. It's like people always say the world is changing. Well, it changes when you look at the phone. Is it really changing? Maybe, right? So it's like an invisible thing. So one of my biggest things is I really want people to get into it because, especially black people, right?
Yeah.
Because it's such a lack of diversity. Everywhere I go, I travel around the country, get a chance, a lot of conferences I go to, right? And it's just, I'm like the only black guy. I mean, and you hear that a lot, but technology actually allows you to not only be in the room, but make an impact in the room just off your smart, right?
Off smarts.
And the diversity, because the thing about technology, what you put in technology, what comes out.
Yeah.
So, for instance, one of the big things when you talk about facial recognition software, right, and it's coming into maybe the DA offices at some point. What is it reading, right? If you don't have enough black faces, or somebody who's not black creating this type of technology, it's going to be skewed.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a skewed thing because it's all based off information off what you're giving it to produce the desired result. So one of my biggest things, like over the next couple of years, I just want to get as many black people as possible in this space because it pays well, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be longevity, right? Yeah. Because technology's not going nowhere. It's just not coding; it's everything, right? Yeah. So I say diversity, making money, and you can create. You can take something and make something without you asking somebody to help you. Because that's one of our biggest gripes. Hey man, they won't let me in. They won't let me do this. Well, let me teach you how to code, and you can create what you want to create. Yeah. It's like drawing. It's like art without somebody in your way. Yeah. Right. So it's like that's one of my biggest things. Like so now I'm starting to teach people. And let me caveat one thing that I've maybe a couple of weeks ago I'll start teaching people like stuff, right? And one of the big things for me is I was tutoring a PhD student from Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. I was like, dang. I was like, that's pretty amazing. Just thinking about, I just never thought those type of things.
But you're so far ahead. That's the thing. Like, I think you look at it like, oh, this is a PhD student. I ain't got my PhD yet. But I mean, I think there's just something that goes towards, what's the word that I'm looking for? There's some things you just can't teach. Like, I think you've got such a sharp mind in terms of seeing where trends are going. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was saying it was just so, like, when you helped me to understand that portion of it, because it fits my skill set. But if I don't know what's happening, you see what I'm saying?
Well, but the thing about it is, with technology, it's problem solving. It's critical thinking. That's why I can see it, because technology has honed my thoughts into thinking like that. It's because it's logic, A, B, C, D. It's math and science, right? It's how you look at things and how you break it down and how do you come with a desired result, right? Yeah. So it's like that's what it creates from so you use that in everything you do, right? Whether I'm dealing with people, whether I'm dealing with whatever, right? How do you buy a house? It's all critical thinking. Yeah. That's what technology is for the most part, and this is what comes out of it. Yeah. So that's why it's like it's so many other effects that come with learning how to do this type of stuff, right? Yeah. And you can take life and apply it to, like, here's life, do that, right? That's how I think about it.
But I mean, it's such a good point, and I loved the part that you mentioned where you say people say the world is changing, but is it? I mean, if you look at your phone, yeah, maybe
it's changing right there.
But I mean, you hear a lot of people. We've had a lot of the folks who used to work in warehouses saying, oh, my jobs are being taken. You're seeing so many different careers where people are saying, my job's being taken. But I like the point that you made just prior, before we came on air, and you were saying, well, it's not really that the jobs are changing, the skill sets are changing and diversifying. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, we was looking at the pizza spot up in Brookhaven. They had robots delivering pizzas, right? That's cool. But the thing about it is, well, conventional thought says that, hey, you're moving the servers out of the way. Yeah. Well, what happens is now your skill set has to change. So now you're no longer serving, you have to manage. Because what happens is somebody has to update the robot, somebody's got to maintain the robot, somebody's got to plug it in at night or whatever, right? So it's like, yeah, you have to change because technology is in the way, right? So I don't know, in the Uber, right? Yeah. Now taxis have to figure out another way to do things. Yeah. People still need rides. Yeah. So everything. So even in warehouses, right? Your skill set has to change as far as how you manage a robot now, and that's a people thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing because things are becoming more efficient. Optimizing things like that, the technology works, but things are becoming more streamlined, and we like convenience. Like, hey, Uber Eats is cool. Yeah. Pull up, let me get my food, right, without me going out. So it's like, but those are some of the benefits that I think that people have to just change at this point. Like, it's the industrial revolution now, right? Yeah. And you just have to think.
What do they call it, the digital revolution?
It's a digital, yeah, man. It's a real thing. Like, and I like I said, I see it so much. It's like, man, and shit. So, and we're talking about like Black Mirror, right? And I just want to bring this in. So everybody's seen the Black Mirror where they have a social when you do something bad, it takes your score, like your credit score, like in real life. And if you look at China, they're doing it now, right? So if you, for instance, I was looking at the video, if you cuss in public, well, okay, your score goes down. What kind of junk is that? But it's using technology to do it, whether it be artificial intelligence, facial recognition, and using information to influence thoughts, right? But I mean, it's of course always that kind of back and forth thing about how much privacy and those type of things. But yeah, man, I'm just encouraged that it's just we need more black people in it.
How wide open is that gate though? I mean, you talk about that.
How big is the internet?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the internet, and this is how my mind works. When after having this discussion with you, what I thought about the internet is like, I'm like, the internet is an America without any inhabitants, just open land. There's so much digital real estate. And I mean, I think about, for me, putting up a website, putting videos up on my website, having all these, and I'm just like, it's almost everything I'm putting up, it's absorbing constantly. And you keep wondering when it's going to get filled. Like, when is this going to, like, when are they going to say too much, you know, like not enough storage or something, you know? And it's like, you think it's going to hit that limit, and then something new comes out like cloud or something. And it's like, there's just so much more space that's available. And you're like, okay, so when does it stop? And I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, never, you know? It's just like, how much more land can I find? That's the way I think about it. Like, how much more land can I find? Which is crazy, because if it's that much land, that means there's that much opportunity.
Yes. So the internet is everything.
Yeah.
It's good, bad, ugly. It's everything. It's like another Earth that is infinite, right? So that's what technology. I mean, that's what it is. Like it's basically the world back in 1300s or something. So now you have to find your space, but like I said, it requires a different type of thinking, right? Now you got to be more creative. You got to do more work, right?
So let's just be honest. How do you get poor minority kids to even start thinking that way?
Exposure. So how I learned, if I think about how I learned, so I mean, I think I was just lucky enough to sit by somebody and say, hey man, this is how you do it. Right? I think it really boils down, like exposure. You have to know it exists, because think about it, right? When I first walked in, what did City say? Fix my computer.
Yeah.
Sir. Fix your computer? What do you mean? Like, I did that a million years, you know what I'm saying? So I think if that's the thought around it,
yeah, people
don't want to, fix computers, like that's not right. So
technology's advanced so much further than that.
Fixing computers, man. Yeah. So how do we? I guess the question is, how do we make it cool, right? Because like you said earlier, Marie said, you know, it gives her a platform because everybody wants to see her, right?
Yeah.
Well, do anybody want to see the tech guy? Probably not, unless I'm posting some cool pictures when I'm traveling around the world. Like, oh, cool, you're right. But it affords you that type of lifestyle. But how do you convey it in a way that makes a younger minority kid even want to do it, right?
And I mean, it's just so much. I think it's almost, in a sense, like with our younger kids, it's almost like so I'll use me for instance. What the digital world did to me was it was kind of like somebody pulling the plug and reprogramming me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it was a whole different conversation that we started having. But you've got to be reprogrammed. How do you do that, right? Because I mean, think about it right now. What are the big venues for opportunity for minority communities? It's like entertainment, athletics, and then you probably what?
That's kind of it. I mean, so two things. What confirmed my thoughts, I mentored, and then every kid 16 years old thought that sports was going to be their thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't believe it until I got around kids and actually, like, really?
Yeah.
That's all you got? You know, but it's like a real thing. So, and on top of that, right, so I'm an advisor, Power My Learning Advisory Board, right, which basically tries to bridge the digital divide amongst lower income communities. And what I found in this space is that the parents don't even know. The parents don't use computers. So they're still going to the check cashing place. You're not paying their bills online.
Yeah.
They don't have the basics down. So it's like it's such a gap.
Yeah.
But
that's my whole point. Like, how do you start to bridge it?
So I see, and that's the part that I need help with, because maybe I'm too, like as you stated before, I'm so far gone from it to some degree.
Yeah, you're I'm 30, 45.
I'm in super space. But I remember they said that, hey, on standardized tests, right, you have to type.
Yeah.
The kid might know the answer, but if they can't type it fast enough or comprehend fast enough, you failed.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's true.
Look how far that is. I'm saying, hey, come with this statistical AI stuff, but I can barely type a complete comprehensive paragraph on a computer fast enough to pass the test.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, the ecosystem, you know, what do you call them? The safe spaces where you can kind of put kids together and just kind of get classes going on. But I also think as adults, if we don't have people there in the space, how can you show them, right? So it's like it's a gap in both areas. Like I said, everywhere I go, I'm the only person there.
You're a unicorn, bro.
I understand, but that's the thing. Like she said, I want to help somebody. Now, like, it's the point of me doing like ain't no fun if the homies can't have none, right?
Yeah.
It's like what's going on? Like, it's just me. Like it's not as fun, right?
Yeah.
Like hey, I'm doing all this. I'm all in doing whatever. It's like, all right.
Well, but you know, I think so, and I want to apologize to our viewers about veering, because I'm a veer. I'm gonna let you know I'm veering. But I think the gap comes from the systematic barriers that were created too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I look at the environment that my daughter's gonna come up in, and I'm like, man, like she could literally walk to the bus stop. We're gonna hold her hand. We're gonna walk with her, but she don't need us to walk to a bus stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me coming up, there were so many hurdles, and between me and the bus stop, it was like, man, do I want to sprint to this bus stop today? Do I want to, do I just want to walk to school? It's so many different hurdles just to get there. And at some point, you got to ask yourself, like, why are these hurdles here?
So I also think, what I said beforehand, like, at this point with technology, it might be an illusion. It could be an illusion at this point, because that
you're talking about the hurdles.
Yeah, the hurdles. Could be in the technology space. The hurdles aren't it's not as much as who you know, because you can be invisible on the internet, right? Yeah. And you're not saying, like, think about it. This radio station, right? Who's saying could listen to something? Nobody. You're not going to 97.5 and say, hey, can you syndicate me? No, you're not. We're here and it's streaming, and hey, people listening, what's going on? How you doing? We got Facebook, got Instagram. Hey, where's the barrier?
Yeah, you're right.
So that's the thing. So we have to get past the illusion of, is that really a thing anymore? Yeah. And that's, I don't know.
It was kind of like that old saying that the grandmas used to say, right? Yeah. The greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world that he didn't exist.
Very much so.
Yeah. It's like, you realize, dang, you real, bro? Yeah. You've been tempting me this whole time?
And then you got to equip them with something to kind of, you got to equip something. Now you need a Bible, you need some holy water, you need something to, get you through.
Because I'll be honest, man. Like, people talk about the millennial generation. They talk about the kids coming up. What's what do they call them? The X Gen or something? Yeah. Like, they talk about that group and they're like, oh, they don't want to go to work. They don't want to work for a company for 50 years. Like, bro, when you show me how this thing worked, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I was like, I'm not clocking in nowhere. I got to work my way up the ladder there. Like, man, I might as well put my money where my heart is and just grind.
And the world is different now. You don't have to.
Yeah.
The world is really different now. So, I don't know. Like, for me, just trying to educate as many people as I can about just to get you in the door, because, like I said, it's a talent gap. If you look at statistics, right? Hey, the data jobs or whatever is going to be this many over so many years, and people just aren't learning that, right? It's just not, people are not going in that way. And it's mostly like Indians and Caucasians, to be honest. Like, it's just not a thing. It's not. Like, that's all I see, that's all I hear. And I'm in the space, so I see it all the time. Like, these are people who know I think I did a post about this a couple of days ago. I did a post about this the other day, that this is if you get in this space, you're powering the new business, because everybody's building their business on the internet. Yeah. And like I said beforehand, it's going to need to be maintained, updated, code changes, and things like that runs these.
I look at these websites. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this before, right? Mm-hmm. It went to a place where, Facebook, when it first started, what was it? it was like, oh, let me just check up on this girl I met at such and such place and send a message. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, think about it. That's what dudes was doing. It was a new highlight spot.
Black Planet.
Yeah, pretty much. Now you got businesses, you got people selling stuff, and it's like they've built an infrastructure off what?
Nothing. Off the internet.
Yeah, off nothing.
It's a marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what it's turned into.
And it's free.
Yeah. I mean, you look at how Amazon trumped Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna sell on my platform?
It's pay.
You gonna sell on my platform?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what toys you're making now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my toys on page 1 and put your toys on page 10. I'm serious.
Yeah. And think about it. So a couple of companies I worked for, right? I did some consulting work for. Do you realize Amazon on the data part, they sell companies back their data at like $500,000 a year. Just selling the data back.
Yeah.
You use my platform. It's Facebook. That's what Facebook do, right?
Yeah.
They take all the free information. They're able to say, hey, this is what I got.
I'm gonna charge you for it.
Now come buy it from me. And the companies use that to know where to sell at.
But that's why Elizabeth, I mean, you think about it, Elizabeth Warren was talking about breaking up the competition. And I don't think a lot of people understood what she was talking about. But I mean, when you think about it, right? Let's keep it 100. If Amazon and Toys R Us are selling the same toy, this is the point that I'm getting at. If they are selling the same toy, and they put Toys R Us's toy on page 10, and they got their toys on page 1 through 5, but you're using their platform, you're never gonna win.
You're never gonna win.
Never.
It's a cruel game. Yeah. And that's the nature of the game. So that's what it is. So how do you all of this technology, how do you start to thinking that way?
I mean, at some point you got to build a platform.
Yeah, and I think that's what us as black people can do now, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
But it goes back to the illusion that you were talking about.
Yes, illusion.
Because I sit back and I'm like, if I'm Toys R Us and I've been around for how long? Centuries?
Yeah.
There's no way in this world that I'm doing what? That I'm advertising on somebody else's platform. Not when I can launch a Facebook page, launch an Instagram page, get a website, get it verified, do all this stuff so that I can sell my own products. Like, why would I ever go to another distribution web center?
Well, in all fairness, right, it's other skill sets that need to be involved, right?
Yeah, but I think I see where the skill sets are, and I think when you've identified, but that's the whole point of us having this conversation is, I mean, without understanding of the technology in place right now, and a small idea of where this thing is going, because you got to have some semblance of where this thing is going. You become, like Toys R Us, obsolete.
Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely have to jump in the game, or you just be left behind.
And I hate to throw them under the bus like that, but I'm just, when I'm looking back and I'm looking at these things, I'm like, they're obsolete.
Yeah. They are, and it's coming fast.
I mean, it's Kmart. You will get Wally.
Blockbuster, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And you see how fast it happened. It went from Blockbuster to Redbox to Netflix, and like.
But Netflix was around for a while. They just lacked the what?
I don't know what.
The content.
You're right, but it took time. So
yeah.
So 20 years, 5 years. Now it's
12 months.
So now it's moving so fast. So it's like that's how fast the business models are changing. And if you don't get over here fast, like you said, you become obsolete. And that's just the nature of the game at this point, right?
Yeah. So what are things that parents can start introducing to their children to really help them to get this leg up, to get caught up and engaged and to be able to run? Because I mean, this thing is changing so fast that if you don't have stamina, you're not gonna keep up.
I think it's a mindset change and understanding the world is different. Right? It's a bunch of free stuff online, but I think that you have to want it. You have to understand. You have to want to get involved, much like anything else.
Yeah.
I don't think you could. I don't think you just. Yeah, you have to go seek it to some degree. Well, I know the world is kind of going to the computers. All right, let me take this second to introduce them to, my kids to something, right?
Yeah.
And see if they're interested. I mean, because you introduce them to football and basketball and entertainment and things of those nature, you have nothing to say about that. So, how do you just introduce it? I mean, not saying it's the end all be all because there's a bunch of other things to do, but I think it's worth an introduction.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the best way to start. Because like I said, I mean, I kind of started and it kind of changed me for the better. So I think it was good. Yeah.
But I mean, I know you said it's critical thinking, it's problem solving.
A lot of math and science.
A lot of math and science. But what do you think the big thing was that, when did that light switch really just go off for you?
I remember, it was funny, right? So the first person who really taught me how to program was this white guy, Don. I got my first job, and he sat me down for 2 years, and I just sat with him, and I kind of just learned how to program. And from that point, that's when I kind of started making some money. I was like, oh. But then that was still before the internet, for real, right? Mm-hmm. But like I said, I was doing other things too, so outside of the entrepreneurship realm, which helped me to advance much more faster. And to be honest, I was always kind of like a hustler, so whatever gave me the most bang for the buck, I'm kind of going for like, oh, I can program and they can make me some money, so we go with that. I'm gonna do that, and I just happen to like it, right? So I think that even that, and then me figuring out the first programming class, kind of like, oh, I'm sitting with gold teeth in my mouth programming, like that doesn't mix, really, right? In theory, but. I just think that me sitting down and really somebody showing me. Somebody showing me like, hey man, this is how you can make an impact in some way, form. And now, like you said, now you've seen those small things even at the D's office. Now it's just like it's a thing now, right?
Well, bro, because I think like, so I mean, think about it, right? When I first came in and we're looking at reach and engagement and we talking about reaching 200 people, and I'm like, if I would have known just on that back end, what I was doing, like just how quickly it went from reaching 200 people to over 18,000. Like, because what that did was it validated me in a way that I had never been validated. Yes. Because when you go and work for somebody, they're never going to tell you how good you are. That's what they're not going to do. They're not going to tell you that you're this diamond in the rough, that you're so amazing, that you're Ken Griffey Jr. They're not going to tell you that. You know, but that's the thing, that technology, and that's what I keep saying with these people when they say, well, what are these kids doing? Well, these kids are being validated in real time. Like real time. Like I'm taking a test every day, and the test is telling me that I'm scoring a 98 and I got an A, and you're trying to tell me wait 5 more years to get there.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
And I'm like, wait on what? Wait on who?
Yeah.
You know, and then you start to understand business and you attach a stream of revenue to it. I mean, at that point, what am I waiting for?
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
No, I'm just being real.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
Like, but I'm saying, like, I mean, it just, when I saw that, it validated me in a way that I had never been validated before.
And as you say, it's a fundamentally different way of thinking, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we used to say we were trained to go to school and do this, but then now I can get validated in real time.
But I mean, look at the history of the school system, though. That's something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the school was built on preparing people to be warehouse workers, you know? Yeah. And it's like, when you understand that, it's like, okay, well, I understand why I wasn't taught to think this way. Because this is a different type of thinking.
Well, I also think that people aren't it's still fairly new, right? Social media just came in the last 10 years, to be honest.
No.
I mean, at its current level, right? Social media, like Twitter, the startup thing, right? That was like 2010, 2011. Like, people weren't really, they were using it, but it was still kind of,
I mean, Facebook was around in 06, 07.
Yeah, you're right, but it's still, like, so was MySpace and Black Planet, but it wasn't as impactful as it is now.
Yeah.
It's like, every day it's just like, psh, psh. So it's still under a decade, right?
But the crazy thing is, let me tell you. So I went back and I actually sat back and went through my Facebook. There's nothing that has changed with my usage of Facebook since I started on here.
And what year was that?
Like 07.
Okay.
And but what I'm saying is, it just shows you just how that fundamental component of what drives Facebook is what? People. Content. Yeah. It's people and content.
Yeah. So the question is, how do you think they know how to make it?
It's the data. That's what it comes. But that's what I'm saying. So when I started to learn about data, I was like, man, like, because like I said, it's real time validation.
Yeah, it's infinite information.
Yeah,
it's infinite. Like, and to your point you saying earlier, now that you have infinite information of everything that surrounds, so it's everything. So now, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell I can tell within a day or two how good my content is.
Yeah.
You can look at your insights. You can look at your But to your point, that's why they're selling it back to companies.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need what's the when you work for the news station, you don't need
I know what you're talking about.
Company, Nielsen,
yeah,
or whatever.
Nielsen.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Nah, because they can't even give you an accurate number.
Yeah, exactly.
They can just give you a general estimate.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all, we are hitting we're hitting up against my time. I went over a lot. But Jamarc, man, I want to thank you for coming on today. I want to thank you for being there. I appreciate it. It was great also having Marie Burke on, talking about her experiences in Hollywood. But stay tuned, everybody. This is Dante Carter with Beyond the Brand on Hits 92.3.